You are live. What is up, everyone? Chris here. I'm going to be pulling out Liam in just a moment, but as you are jumping on with us, say what's up in the chat. And let's do this thing. Okay. Let's see. Pull you out. It lets me add you as moderator, but I don't see a way to pull you. Does say we got a few people on with us, but I do not see any people in the chat yet. So as you're popping in, guys, let us know you're on with us, where you're coming in from, and if you're feeling like it, let us know what you're most excited about chatting with us about season 1 of Handmaid's Tale about. And yes, that will give me just enough time to either get Liam pulled out. We got California, nice. We're over in Arizona, so we're still on PST with you. Let's see. I don't know. It's not looking good for having him come out on camera here with us from his office. We may have to get him just to jump into my office. So 2 seconds, and we'll have him hop into my office, and that way we can all chat together, and I'll just run the computer. Just has to run down the hall, so it shouldn't take 2 seconds. All right. I'll grab my water. All right. Do our whole little intro. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Chris. As always, with me,
Liam.
Yeah. See, like I haven't done that a million times at this point. What's up, guys? Welcome on. Welcome on. Good to see everyone. I may have to adjust the light, or you're going to have to raise the brim of your hat because you are like in darkness over there. All right. The echo sounds way cool. Oh, because my mic's probably all the way over here. Because I am an incredibly loud individual, if you haven't noticed that by the videos. And Liam, not so much. So I have to keep my mic all the way over there when I'm talking. But is that better? Or do you still have an echo?
And I sometimes have to decrease Chris's volume in post-edit just so that we're level.
All good. Sweet. All right. Well, we're definitely ready to rock. We don't want to value your time and everyone's time jumping on. Awesome. So we're getting a couple that's betters, but still echo for some. All good. So welcome. Super excited to have a real live chat with everybody and discuss kind of more in detail what we've seen so far in season 1 specifically. Everyone who I've seen commenting so far already knows that we're anti-spoilers here. So anything that's going to be coming up in like season 2, season 3, season as we roll, we're not going to be talking about that today because I want to experience it as I go. But everything else is fair game, even season 6, because we have seen that. And I've referenced that multiple times as we've been talking. But let's dive right in.
So one of the questions that I have for y'all that maybe you can help me with is I was talking with someone in the comments. I can't recall the name right this second. But she said that the ending was very different in the book than it was at the end of season 1. And I didn't have time to get back to her, but she said it's because season 1 is literally the whole entire book, as everyone kept helping us with, which is great. Thank you for that. But I want to know, how was the book so much different that they could continue it on, or is that why they need to make the change was so that they continue it on for the other seasons? Do you guys know?
I'd be interested to know also, because I know it's probably going to take you a second to type that out. Unfortunately, we can't, pull you out and hear your voice. It was hard enough to just try to find Liam on there. How does the book end differently than the show? I think that ultimately will help us have more clarity on how the showrunners were able to, and the writers and everybody come together and actually continue this show for 6 more seasons based off of one book. And then also, obviously, we're going to be getting the Testaments, which is the next book. But there's a big gap in between there and a lot of filler that they had to write. And at the end of the day, they did an amazing job with that. And so I'm just kind of curious, what's the difference? All right, so we've got Riot Girl Gaming. Appreciate the comment. So we got season 1 is the entire book, but they expanded the story quite a bit. The bridge scene with Janine didn't happen, as well as the stoning scene. Okay. So Janine never puts herself at risk or the baby, and therefore there would never be a reason to have her go to the stoning. That's different.
So is Janine like a smaller character then in the book? That'd be interesting.
Sometimes
she's like a favorite of like all of us.
Well, we definitely seen that before, where a character has a very small role in the book, but the actor does such a great job portraying that they're like, we want more screen time of that person.
Or there's the opposite of that, where the actor ruins it because of his ego and has to be the main character in World War Z. Talk to you, Brad Pitt.
Has nothing to do with this right now, but Liam obviously has his grudges.
Mm-hmm.
But I love what they did with her in the show. Yeah, I agree. Janine is one of my favorite characters in this, for sure. She is a drastic contrast to the rest of the world, right? That childlike innocence when everything else is definitely not. Very cool. Any other questions you had, real quick?
I honestly want to know how you guys are dealing with going through this series again. I know Chris and I have talked about this behind the scenes, but we're both kind of like mentally in a dark place from living in this universe so frequently right now.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with Liam about this yesterday, where we have a bunch of upcoming shows, and one of them was going to be Dexter's Resurrection, the new spinoff, or I guess not spinoff, but continuation of the original show. We both love the original show. We reviewed the spinoff, but I was like, man, I'm already dealing with enough evil and darkness. Like, let's do this and focus on like some sci-fi fantasy, something that where I don't believe this could really happen, so that I can have a little bit more light in my life right now. But yeah, I that being said, I don't want to say that I'm not enjoying the Handmaid's Tale. It is because of you guys been an amazing experience. But let's see if you guys, the audience, have any. And I'm going to say guys a lot, and I know majority of you are females. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. That's just Northeast mentality, the way I speak.
California is for dude.
Right. What up, man? How you doing, dude? But yeah. So, do you have any riveting any questions that you might have for us now that, or me or Liam specifically, or both of us, now that we've finished season 1, and our kind of background with the whole thing?
Chris, I'm already feeling it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might be a good moment while you guys are typing that out. So normally in the back of our videos, we have these 2 wine bottles sitting there. They are non-alcoholic wine, but they are, however, THC infused. They're actually our channel sponsor. They're the ones that do some stuff for us. They'll help us out so that we can do more videos for you. And so we were like, well, what better way to kind of have an afternoon together and chat with everybody to actually take a couple of sips of this and try it. And so we've been sipping on just a little bit of it, not a lot, just a couple of sips so far. And so Liam says he's already feeling it. My kind of wine. LOL. Absolutely. Yeah. Me as well.
Oh. Yeah, I feel it in my cheeks. The smell is very floral, like so much flower smell to it. The taste is more like sangria. It is a sangria, but it is like a very, very mild sangria.
Isabella is saying that our next meetup should be 420. We're cheers into that. And so after the series finale, Riot Girl's also saying after the series finale, I went back and watched the whole thing. It's hard. Yeah, it it is a very rough, evil environment to watch through. The shining light is it's very well written, and there are powerful moments for characters like June that really give us that silver lining to allow us to like root for the hero throughout it all, which I really love about. I mean, probably why I love fantasy, right? I love the hero on the epic journey. I love the hero overcoming the odds. I love, evil being conquered. I love that stuff. So, question for both you and Liam: if you had to pick one male figure you relate to, I'm guessing inside the Handmaid's Tale, who would it be and why? Interesting. I'd
like to say Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Probably
between those three.
Oh, well, it would have to be Luke because he's a father. He cares about his family. He's willing to go to lengths to protect them. As a veteran, I would do the same. And so I would say Luke. I do enjoy Nick's character. He just isn't a father, and he doesn't necessarily have the same ideals that I have because of that.
Not yet.
Right. And so I would say in season 1, it would be Luke. Definitely not Fred. I struggle even understanding some of the scenes he has. I just think that as an actor, he just portrays evil with his face so well that I really believe it.
Yeah, it's easy for Luke for me also, even though Luke isn't my favorite, but he's the most similar to myself, I guess.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think there's a really good option, but Luke would be the closest.
All right, reverse question for y'all. Which one of the females do you most identify with? And you can't say June.
Why can't they?
I don't know.
Why can't
that's
they?
the easy pick.
Oh, okay. It could be an easy pick, but you also have to understand that they could actually identify that way.
Fair. All right, you can choose June if you want to. I just didn't want to see just straight up June because I realized that after you asked the question, like there's only one clear choice for us, and that's Luke. And so it's like, I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's an awesome piece of information. So Chris H just chimed in and said, the wife of the actor who plays Fred cannot watch the series because she cannot see him like that. So that's a tip of the hat to how well he portrays that and is not that in his everyday life, which is acting, right? So many of us cannot disconnect from that. I'm not saying anybody on here, but the one of the most infamous stories of that stands out to me is Prince Joffrey and also King Joffrey, who ultimately the guy who plays him had to go out of acting for years. He just recently picked up a role in Sandman season 2 on Netflix, very small role. But he's starting to act again. But for a long time, he was unable to act because people could not separate him from that character. It's so crazy.
It makes me think of Christopher Walken also. The reason he did the Fatboy Slim music video where he's just dancing is because his grandkids were terrified of him because he played all these evil roles and these bad guys so well. So I can completely understand that.
Yeah. So we have an Offred and we have a Moira, both very powerful characters in their own right. I mean, anybody who has to survive through that has power, whether they show it in one way or another.
So you're saying June, or are you saying June as when she's Offred?
What's the distinction? What is the distinction to you?
To me, she is still she's forced and stuck in a role that she can't get out of. Where June, she had her choices, right? She chose to go back later on in season 6 and all the, I'm not going to bring up any of the other seasons, but, and before Gilead, she made all these choices we got to see in the flashback. So that's why I'm making the distinction, because to me, she's a very different person and they're two different people.
Okay. Interesting. I was curious because to me, there is no difference. Like I met June as Offred of Fred, and so they're the same person to me. So I was just interested to see what you thought. She puts on another mask, a mask intentionally. Offred knows what she must do. Interesting. So you're along the same thought process of Liam. I like that. Where June's one person and the mask she puts on is Offred because she knows what to do to manipulate Fred.
So by what you just clarified, that means you would be the mask, right?
I don't know. June was very submissive to Luke and didn't follow her mother. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Definitely hard for me to see. Like I said, hard for me to see how I would relate to any of these characters except for Luke. But I like Nick as a character. Let's talk a little bit about that. I personally, coming in watching season 6, and then going in and watching season 1, I did not think, and I've said this before in a video, I didn't think Nick was going to be as big of a part or big of a role as he ended up being. I thought things were spaced out over these upcoming seasons, rather than all happening in just one season, which hindsight talking it out right now makes way more sense because it's based off of a book that's based off of season 1. So all that had to happen in season 1, otherwise it didn't happen in the book. I just had that epiphany just now. So that makes sense. But yeah, so very, very surprised to see just how much Nick did. And I enjoyed watching him as a character. Is there anyone in particular in season 1 who, when you watched it for the first time, who stood out to you the most? You were like, that's a really interesting character to me.
And what's your favorite cinematic scene
For season 1?
Season 1.
Ooh. That's a hard one. I'm trying to run through all that because there's a lot that happens.
I'm not saying like the scene, everything was fine, happy, and all that. I'm talking about cinematically. I still got the one burned in my brain. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I can hear myself in your office. That's funny.
Should I go turn that down a little bit?
That's fine. But if no one's really typing, so maybe we move on to the next question.
So my favorite cinematic scene is when Emily's lover is being hung with the camera.
The Martha that she was with in that house. Yeah, the one okay, yeah.
So when we talked about that in the episode, that is like still by far my favorite cinematic scene. The way they use the camera, the angles, and the visible frames of all the elements involved, of the vehicles and the people and all of it. I just love how they were able to get that shot so clean.
Yeah, I will say I would agree that's my favorite, but there are definitely, one thing I'm learning as I watch Handmaid's Tale, and you probably picked it up as well, being that many of you have watched the entire series, is that you can almost, like, the writers and the director, I'm guessing, because he's the one who's picking out the scenes, will tell you the story, and you can anticipate what's coming or understand what's about to happen just based on where they place that camera. The most recent example is when Serena slaps the crap out of June coming out of that bathroom. The only reason you're going to get the angle of June walking out of the bathroom from behind June is if somebody's going to be waiting for her and something's going to happen to her. And so I just think that the way they shoot this is really good. Yeah, Tammy agrees with you. She said it's brutal, and the scene was a swift one. But yeah, just the way they use those doors and the angle, the slow synchronized walking of the handmaid show, the erasure of individuality and forced conformity. Yeah.
We don't know anything about that. I remember the first time when I got off the bus at boot camp. We were all lined up, had to go march into the building. Person from me tripped, and I laughed. And I got chewed the fuck out for that. And I remember that vividly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got yelled at so hard, and I still couldn't stop laughing because I didn't know what to do. So I just kept laughing.
It is a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
What up, Crystal from New Jersey? Welcome in. So we've got a couple of good scenes, actually. Yeah, I agree that the opening scene, I think the opening scenes at the Waterfords, where maybe it's not the opening scene then, but if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen season 6, it's the one where it reflects season 6 ending directly. I thought that was really cool how they did that, how they had it echo each other. Right on. So in season 1, we got a lot of the backstory laid out. And for me, watching season 6 and not knowing what was going on, I felt like it took maybe 2 to 3 episodes before we started getting all the pieces really filled in. And I think I was more focused on trying to figure out whether or not Serena was evil than I was like really feeling like watching the whole story.
Because you knew I was going to ask you every day, is she evil yet? Is she evil yet?
Yeah. I'm just stuck on hurt people. And so like I can see the commanders and all the people in Gilead, for a long time, that's evil, that's bad. Like that's the enemy we're fighting. That's the evil. And Serena was just like another person caught up in the mix. But I mean, she created her own hell, and that's confirmed in the finale of season 1. And so she even says it herself. I helped write that law. So if you have to live under that law and suffer from it, you wrote it. So yeah, if you create hell and you get burned, it's on you.
I've got a question for y'all. This one's not for Chris because it wouldn't apply. But going back through this first season, I did not realize how much I forgot. Did you guys get that same experience?
Getting some hearts to pop up. Love that. Appreciate it. I think there might be okay. There's a little bit of a lag. Plus, you guys are also typing, so that takes some time. I know I'm a slow typer. I use voice to text on almost everything I do. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Serena is the epitome of rules of thee, but not for me. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is kind of all of Gilead, Crystal. One thing I'm learning is that they are the masters of gaslighting. They'll do something wrong and then tell you're the reason why they did it. And then use the twisted Bible verses and all the stuff that they do. But master gaslighters. We got a lot of comments flying in quick now. Steph says, yes, so much I missed that I caught on the rewatching. Yeah, that's what Liam's been saying. So that was a question for you guys. Absolutely. You guys are also answering one another. So that's awesome. I love that you guys are engaging with each other in the chat and not just us too. Like it's more of a community feel. And I love that.
If it wasn't for y'all, we probably never would have gone through with the rewatch of season 1. And then as we progress all the way back to season 6, but probably not going to watch season 6 all over again. Man, this wine.
Probably should stop sipping it then.
Yeah, I should. But it actually is gotten better every sip.
Yeah. When we first opened it, I was like, that doesn't smell like something I would want to drink. But then I took my first sip and I'm like, okay, it tastes better than it smells. And the individual who we partnered with this, they did mention that it's a sangria. You want to put fruit in it and it makes it taste better and all that. But
we want to see how it tastes just raw.
Yep, just unfiltered. Better with every sip. Yeah. You wouldn't know that we're in marketing for a living.
No.
The bridge scene, just describing the karaoke scene, but yeah, that one too. The one where she actually talks it out and then they show it in season 6. I caught that too. I thought that was really powerful. Like the way they do some of this stuff and make it echo and like reward you for that Easter egg later is great. So I want to, now that you guys actually have a chance to ask us questions and really pick our brains or get to know us a little bit more, I want to open the floor to you guys and say, is there anything you want to ask us, whether it's about Handmaid's Tale or ourselves or the show or, any of that? Like, we want to get to know you. We want you to get to know us. And obviously anything to do with Handmaid's Tale is on the table as well.
So glad to have more men reacting to this series. Thank you for all your insights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had to really talk Chris into doing season 6. It was a struggle.
I'm a sci-fi fantasy guy. Like that's where I go. And so if this is like rooted in anything that could be real, like a dystopian, just evil future, I'm usually not going to watch it. And so when Liam recommended it, it was not top of my list, but we've been doing this a while together now. And there've been many times he's recommended something that I wouldn't have liked right away, but ended up loving. And so gave it a shot. And really, the show wasn't necessarily the best for me at first. It was really the audience, the comments, you guys joining in, that made it awesome, that made me like want to keep going with it, and ultimately was a driving force for why we're going back through the whole thing. So I want to give you guys a huge credit for that. Also you for turning me onto it the first time. What Serena does with using Hannah, yeah. Crystal, that was the absolute thing that made me say to Liam, she's evil. I believe that every person on this planet has a capacity for evil, but I also think that there are thresholds, right? Limits. Like, and certain people will think, you hurt me, I'll hurt you, and they'll be, punch you in the face kind of thing. And then there are people who are like, no, I'm gonna like salt the earth, take out your entire family line, like, burn the tree you loved, that you're, whatever. They're gonna do everything they can to hurt you. And there's different levels of that. And I had not seen Serena be capable of it yet until the end of the season. And now I am fully on board that, yeah, she has a capacity for evil that I think I'm just beginning to see.
Do you guys think Fred has done anything genuinely good for anybody in the series so far?
Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, so what are we defining as genuinely good? Because he's given June freedoms that she normally would never have, albeit they are on a leash and part
for
of
his personal gain.
Yes. However, she does get glimpses of things I guess rewards that normally she wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
But is that something that's genuinely good? No, I don't think so. But is it like a reward that's nice that maybe she wouldn't have if she wasn't with Fred? I don't know. I don't think Fred's not a good guy, right? So can we call anything he does genuinely good? No. So it's hard. It's a struggle. Let's see. I know Chris still has a lot more to go watch. As veterans, how did the PTSD signs stick out to you? PTSD signs stick out to you. I think anytime that we deal with people with trauma, it's relatable. It's easier. I'll speak from it's easy for me to put myself in their shoes and not necessarily judge them, or I try to understand them more, right? Because of my own past. However, I wouldn't say that every single trigger or sign of PTSD is something that I'm aware of, only the ones that I really deal with. And so maybe I don't notice them all, but I will say that I am way more I'm easy to empathize with someone who has experienced a trauma, because I can put myself in their shoes even slightly, because I understand that there are ways to deal with that, techniques to grow through that. And there are also direct reactions that a body can have when dealing with it.
And for me, I'm very empathetic. I feel people's emotions. And when an actor is good enough, I feel that through the screen as well, which is pretty crazy. I don't know what it is, but I've always been good at connecting patterns and just feeling what other people feel. I think that's a big reason why I'm extremely reclusive, is so I don't have to deal with other people's freaking emotions all the time.
Yeah. He has to unplug and recharge. We got a lot of comments popping in, so I'm sorry.
We gotta catch up.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Ivana saying, thank you for your content. I was a little bit upset from watching season 6, but season 1 was much better atmosphere for me. Yeah. I think season 6 was so powerful because there was a conclusion to all of you been watching for all these years. But I would agree that there's a lot more going on, and season 1 has a lot more excitement going on in it and a lot more story being laid out. So therefore it's more interesting to me. But season 6, anytime you put a bow on it and see how it ends, it's pretty good, or how the story continues, because obviously there will be more. It's very thank you both. Another thank you. I appreciate all the thank yous, guys.
So the hindsight perspective, as soon as I read that in that comment, I'm thinking at all the times I beat myself up when I'm doing the editing, and I'm just going through, I'm like, damn, we forgot to talk about that. Damn, we forgot to do this thing. And it's just like so much that we miss because we want to keep this as natural as possible. We don't want to be reading lines or script or any of that stuff. We want it to just be a conversation. And sometimes, just like in a real conversation, you'll realize, oh, I forgot to say that, but you'll text your friend, but we don't have that ability here to just text everybody here. I guess we could do a post, but
no one sees YouTube posts, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So Heather said, I mean, we're going to keep trying to go through these comments as they're coming in. So if we miss yours, just let us know, hey, you missed it, or like repost it real quick.
And keep asking questions.
And yeah, don't stop. So Heather, Boston's top angel. I love that. Or Boston's top angel. You know that it could be either one. So there's no break up in it. So Serena is the epitome of evil. I hated her character at every step of the story. I still don't feel like she deserves any level of redemption. This has been an ongoing debate between Liam and I throughout the whole thing. One thing I will say is Liam completely agrees with you. Most of the fandom agrees with you
until the very end.
But that's what I want to bring up is that if you've seen the ending of season 6, doesn't she get her just desserts? She's all alone. She has no power. She's basically isolated. She lost everything. And so maybe something will be different in Testaments, but I feel like she didn't get redemption. She may have gotten a little bit of like shining silver light at the end there when they were in New Bethlehem, but after that, she didn't get redemption. Like she didn't get to go on and live a happy, joyous life.
But she got forgiven by June, which meant a lot to her.
I think that was more for June than it was for her anyway.
Like, yeah, we talked about that.
Someone, holding on to that hatred's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. It's not going to work. So I think June, yeah, we talked about, well, if you want to know more about that, we obviously don't have to go into it again right now, but we talked about it in depth in the finale. Fred does nothing without expectation, something in return. Yeah, Fred's manipulative, evil, narcissist. Fred doesn't show any signs of doing anything that doesn't benefit him in some way. Absolutely, completely agree.
Cynical point of view is we're all like that, though. We're literally all like that.
As human beings, we don't do anything that doesn't benefit us. And then some people will say, well, I what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
I donate. I'm a service. all these things, but at the same time, that it's a piece of joy that you give yourself. So it's still, there's always a way to tie it back. Maybe the wine's hitting me too now. I'm starting to talk a mile a minute over here.
That's no change.
Need to slow me down. But that also happens when in hiding. I think maybe I missed the first part of that. The first opportunity went back to New Bethlehem, and first opportunity went back. I think they're setting us up for relationships between Mark and Serena in the New Testaments. That would make me so mad. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the Testaments for sure. If Serena gets any kind of redemption, relationship, or anything moving forward, I would like to see her just fall off into obscurity and let karma have its way with her.
Is she even going to be in Testaments?
I don't know. That's just a thought that Steph had. Okay. Yeah. I don't think she does receive redemption. Yeah, I would agree. I think she gets forgiveness from June, but at the end of the day, karma catches up to her.
And I'm a big believer of that people can change, and for the most part, there's not really much that you can do to kill an old identity, right? So think of it this way: every second of the day, you are a brand new person. You've got new input, new information, and you're older. So does that define you as a new person, period? Because we're doing this daily. Every experience we have is new input. It's changing who we were. We're no longer the same person I was before I started this stupid argument right now. I'm probably a little higher.
Yeah. I would agree. It's the one thing she's always wanted was a child, and it's not even really her child. And then she does get to keep that child, which is I don't think fair, but
Which child are you talking about?
the one that June has. Where did June get her child? Oh, you know what? There's a
Season
gap
6.
in things that I don't understand yet. That's what's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
I can't wait for him to see Fred stuff later on. The hell?
I don't know.
Someone's here.
All right. So what would you say you're most excited for rolling into season 2 without spoilers? Could maybe one word, that way you don't spoil it. Like, what's the one thing you're most looking forward to that or most looking forward to experiencing together on the show? And I really appreciate everybody. There's a lot of comments, a lot of engagement here, which is great. I wanted to say thank you guys. This has been awesome. Crystal, yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Crystal says the biggest problem with Serena in the end is that she hasn't actually learned anything or, from everything that's happened to her. Yeah. And I think she proves that in the train scene in season 6, where she's about to get beat up by that mob or killed by that mob. And then she chooses to take the religious high road and talk about how much she's helped them and everything that she's done for them.
During that scene, the whole time I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I think June was too. But the thing is that she was part of the beginning. She's part of the reason Gilead gets built. She believed those things, right? She didn't just get brought into it and forced to believe it. She was a huge part of building it. And so despite all the things that are going to happen over these next couple of seasons, I don't think that would be enough for her to change those ideals and beliefs, especially since I know in season 6, she still wholeheartedly will stand on that freaking soapbox and until she dies.
Okay. Oh, it was just an Amazon delivery.
They don't even ring my doorbell anymore. They just put it on my front porch.
Well, it's hot as hell out, and this stuff will melt.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, what is it right now? 110? 110.
110 right now. Yay.
Gotta love Arizona.
That's why my house is so cold right now, is so that the AC will keep up when it gets to 117.
Yeah, nothing does. Let's see. Cheers, fellas. Keep it up. Truly enjoy your observations. Thank you, Tammy. Have a great night. Or have a good nap, I should say. Because you got to get up for work. Trust me, I remember those times.
Season 1's Control, Season 2's Resistance.
Nice. I like that, because I asked one word. What are you most excited for? You weren't in the room. What are you most excited for rolling into season 2? And Isabella, I love that. Resistance. When we watched the finale of season 1, that was the one thing I was talking to Liam about, is that I really liked how they were setting up as they were marching down the road and they're peeling off, just kind of setting up like what that looks like. And then also the iconic line is, as Liam pointed out in our last show, our last episode, if you didn't want us to be an army, then why did they give us uniforms?
Mm-hmm. That was brilliant. Was that from the actual book also?
Heather says every choice that Serena has made has been for her own benefit. Absolutely. They're very selfish people. Fully agree with Chris.
I feel like every good thing she has done has always, like, what I call it is evil genie. You know how they do those skits all the time? Like, if you had one wish, you got to be clear about it, and then the person's job is to twist the hell out of it and make it the worst possible version of that wish. I feel like that's what every good deed she does comes with. Is some twisted version afterwards.
So we had Chris H bring something up earlier that we had missed, and then Isabella's bringing it up again. So let's talk about it. She said, and she actually asked, let's talk about more about it. So Chris H said how chilling it was to see how many small things led to democracy falling. Can we expand upon this with the great comment and how your military background? I think Liam brings up a really good point about this. We talk about it quite often, and we did on that episode. There's the analogy of the frog boiling in water, right? And that to me, I think, is the best way to really take a big outside look at this, the exoteric look at this, and see how it could happen. We see it every day, and we don't like getting political because that's something that's very diversive and polarizing in any country, especially our own. And we don't want to be breaking people up. We're here for entertainment. We're here to bring people together for entertainment, not divide them. However, I will say that we could see it every day where there are ways that we can use things like fear to manipulate people into doing things that they normally wouldn't do. An example of that could be your data is being taken away from you. You can't trust it. So let us put extra security measures in that we monitor that will allow us to keep your data safe. But at the same time, you're just giving control over to someone else. And so, again, not going to go into all the politics of it all.
Coming from the intelligence background, there's always this balance that's a sliding scale that's going up and down of freedom versus security or safety, right? So if you want more freedom, you're going to be less safe. You want more safety and security, then you're going to lose some freedoms for that. And it's always this weird sliding scale that seems to be tilting towards lack of freedom.
Yeah.
More and more.
Now, when it comes to Gilead specifically, I don't understand how the society allowed Congress to be attacked and fall. But then at the same time, we live in a world where we're yelling things like we need to get them all fired and completely upheaval it and term limits and things like that. So then it's like it kind of does make sense why some people would be like, this is a good thing, where there'd be other people who would say there isn't. And what we see now more than ever, especially with social media, is the silent minority. The minority is actually louder than the silent majority. So people just shine light on the wrong things. That's the problem.
Good, because the wrong things evoke a bigger emotional reaction.
Well, yeah, that too. Well, that's why we see media the way that it is. But a mentor of mine once told me the things that we shine a light on grow. And so I usually choose to focus my time and energy on talking about engaging with, reading, consuming things that I want to see grow, that I want to see become more. And so with that in mind, I would say I like to focus on the things that are going to make things better.
I do too, but sometimes I get stuck dwelling on the negative things so I can best avoid them. That doesn't always work. You kind of, there's this whole phenomena around skidding on ice while driving, right? This goes to exactly what Chris was talking about, the fixation, what you shine light on grows. When you're driving on ice and you lose control, you'll see most of the time people will slide into the thing they were attempting to avoid because that's what they were attempting to avoid. They were fixating on
your
it.
eyes were.
Yeah.
We go where our eyes are. That's why they say keep your eye on the ball, because your bats naturally, or your hands are naturally going to go there. I agree. Crystal and Ivana, she's deep rooted from her upbringing to feel and think that way. So nothing was going to change that. Before the attack on Washington, you could see it in small things like wives needing their husband's signature for birth control. Yeah, I mean, those types of things are the little things that we could see being manipulated and twisted or gaslit into being better for you, right? And that's what we see. And ultimately, I mean, I don't know exactly the step-by-step way Gilead did it. We just know, the pieces. But I would say
I'd like to see a prequel of the actual takeover.
June being questioned for working when her daughter is sick, needing her husband's signature for birth control. These are small things that are slowly deteriorating her rights, 100%. However,
there was one scene that really pissed me off, and it was that fucking barista with June and Moira.
Yeah, that was messed up. What I'm trying to make a connection with in my head right now is that I would think that there would be big step, like something that implements in first that allows society to be like, no, I'm going to sign for my wife's birth control. Otherwise, there would be people like Luke, I would think, who would be like, no, this is wrong, and to kind of stand up for it and do a march or do something, a protest way before that.
I don't think so. Because if you remember, he was joking with June and Moira, like, don't worry, I'll still support you. You remember that when they lost access to the money?
So what I would ask then is like, what is the thing that's keeping them placid? Like, what is the thing that's keeping them in the mindset that this is all just a joke?
I brought this up before with the whole 9/11 thing. I was in college during 9/11 in Visual Basic. I was done with my work early and fucking off. And I was on the web searching for stuff, came across Yahoo or something, one of those websites. And it was like the tower just got hit by a plane. I'm on Long Island in college at this time at 17. I told my professor, and my professor was like, yeah, no, that doesn't happen here. It's got to be fake. And I think that they would believe the same thing. This can't be real. No, it would never happen. It would never happen to us. It would never happen to me.
Yeah.
There's too many moving pieces, but it did happen.
Yeah. No, and you guys are making some valid points. I would say Meridian Prime that we could see it all over the world. United States here recently with some of the actions, but all over the world, like the that word,
Authoritarian,
yeah, practices, kind of have been the thing for a long time. It's kind of rare that we get these huge societies of peace. We get lucky sometimes. I would say in the United States, we have been for a very long time. We've had our struggles and we've had some really messed up things happen, but we've grown greatly. And I can say that that's something I'm proud of.
I would rather see a prequel because I don't want to live through it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is like in order for us to directly correlate these two things, we would need the prequel. Because taking our own life experiences and then putting it into that context, there's always going to be a disconnect, right? There is.
We relate everything based on our own experiences. That's why my tangents and how I explain things can be very different because they're based on my experiences, but you can still give the same points with maybe a different experience or story from your life.
Yeah. Steph, I think that's why this particular show resonated with so many people and is very dark and disturbing to watch, is that there's nothing in this show that we could not believe has happened, nor based on what you're saying here, has already happened in the past in real life. And that makes it even more scary, right? I completely agree that would be not so I wouldn't say I agree. I would say that it's great that we as a society can watch it on the screen and say these are horrific things. These things have happened. Let's be mindful that they never happen again, and we don't put ourselves in a position where we let the frog boil so long that we end up somewhere like that. I think that these could be a way for us to use entertainment to educate and empower, and I think that's powerful.
I've always been of the mindset, like, if you're going to do a period piece, I'm going on a tangent here for a second. If you're going to do a period piece of like Civil War or any anything that has actually happened in history, that the director and the crew, cast, everyone involved in the movie or series should 100% stick to as accurate as you can, because people will base this stuff as actual history. People learn through play best. And when you watch, say, Master and Commander or Gladiator, right? All the
Stuck on
scenes.
Russell Crowe.
I guess. I don't know.
Stuck on Russell
I don't
Crowe.
know. I got stuck there for a second, apparently. But yeah, Russell Crowe movies. Let's just say Russell Crowe movies.
Okay.
If you have inaccurate information in those series, as if that were completely wrong, people are actually going to believe that's how it was. And that gets super frustrating to me when they get that kind of thing wrong. And I believe they have a moral obligation to get those things right if they're going for a period piece.
Yeah. If you're going for historical accuracy, then that's important for sure. Because people are, that's the thing too. You could even put the disclaimer at the front of the video movie that this is not historically accurate. Things have been changed. And people are still going to believe, not everyone, obviously, but
that's why I hate
there will be people who still believe that's real.
That's why I hate those stupid based on a true story. Yeah, based. Tiny little piece.
Yeah. So Crystal says, I think it all comes back to the idea that we need to be protected. I remember after 9/11 and how our government moved quickly to try to prevent. Oh, I just got another comment, so it jumped. Prevent it happening again, and we gave up rights for it. Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. The sliding scale.
Yeah, it's the example. I think we're all on the same page with that because I don't think there should ever be a time where we give up rights and freedoms for protection. Right? We could protect ourselves, but that's just me as a vet. So powerful, but do you agree that it wasn't one big moment? It was 1,000 tiny cuts.
Absolutely.
Death by 1,000 cuts. Yes. That's how freedom dies. Love all perspectives. Thank you for allowing space for it. Yeah, no, it has to be, because if it was one big, bold action, then there would be a resistance. There would be a rebellion. There will always be someone who will stand up to evil on scale. But when it's happening behind the scenes in 1,000 cuts, when we're not aware, when the good people do nothing because they're unaware, not because they weren't there. I just made that up and it rhymed. It makes a difference. And I completely agree with you, Isabella.
Yeah, back to boiling frog with that one.
Historical accuracy versus creative license. Yes. And they need to be very clear about those two different things. Because to Liam's point, people believe it. The boiling frog parable perfectly illustrates how Gilead came to be. They didn't rise in a single coup. It simmered. Yeah. And that's how, otherwise, like I said, it wouldn't work.
So when Handmaid's Tale when I first discovered it, which I said was during the pandemic when we were on lockdown, being on Facebook, you see people talk about the things that they're watching because no one can go anywhere.
Good. Sorry.
It is getting better though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But people talk about the things they're watching because everyone's at home, and so everyone's socializing on the internet. So Facebook, I just scrolling through Facebook, I want to look some stuff up about the series, and I'd find these groups that were like supporters of June with the Resistance, right? But I'd also stumble across some freaking groups that were like Team Gilead, and this was like, they loved it.
Listen, just like it was pointed out earlier in the thread, these are based off of things that have actually happened in the past. And for those things that happened in the past, or to have actually happened in real life, then there's people who think that way for them to happen. And so it is a very unfortunate side of life, is that with good comes evil. And with every person who's willing to stand up for atrocities, there are people who are willing to stand up to create them. And it's a fucked up reality, but it's the reality we live in.
No, without evil, there can be no good.
So bummed I'm so late. We're happy you're here, Zombie Creations. And for a good reason, though, right? So hopefully everything went well. The road to hell is always paved with good intentions. Scare people and give them the solution. Yeah, these are the tactics.
Dirty marketing.
Yeah.
Everything is marketing.
I think everything is sales. Yeah. Marketing is just how you get attention to make the sale.
But marketing is also our appearance, how we project ourselves to others, and
Yep.
So
Outward attraction.
we do it regardless of whether we know we're doing it or not.
Simone, great point. That was a powerful line. We definitely touched on that several times. Fred said to June in the library, his office there, better isn't always better for everyone. And that really just kind of cements home Gilead's literally willing to have others suffer for them to have what they want. And they know that. And I think they're okay with it. Matter of fact, some people, some of the commanders get off on it.
I'd love for everyone to be of the understanding of win-win. I know that's one of your favorite topics too.
Win-win, yeah. It's my life. So Crystal, that's awful that there are people, like Liam was saying, there's entire groups of people dedicated to the other opposing side of what we're talking about right now. So it's unfortunate that not everyone can see. But one thing I've learned is that keep an open mind for them, and just keep sharing openly what you believe without forcing it down anyone else. And if it's meant to be, they'll come to it. Oh, bumped you.
Yeah, you've been doing that the whole time.
I'm a swear, dude. I have ADHD. I can't sit still. I think we as human beings, unless a problem directly affects us, we often believe we'll be the exception. Like, oh, that happens to other people, not me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty common saying in society. Harley brought, like, that's a good point.
I mean, couldn't be me.
Right.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah. Not my kid. No, it was your kid.
It's a meme.
So, Crystal, you got to also understand the other point of view. People come to entertainment to escape, to bring themselves joy, to have the emotions that separate them from their everyday life. So not everyone's going to want to have these conversations around a TV show. Maybe time and place, I'm not really sure. Again, I don't understand the exact scenario, but what I will say is I will play devil's advocate for this individual and say that there are times where I watch entertainment and I just want to be entertained. I don't want to dive into the nuances of what's really happening or why it would happen. Naturally, we do that for a lot of things that we do, but there are times where I've done that so much that I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
And it could be the innocent side of it as well, would be by having that discussion, it makes it real. It makes it real life.
Yeah. And also too, that's a very valid point too. Some people like to keep their head in the dirt, right? Some people ostrich it. And as long as they don't have to hear it or see it, it's not real. So, go watch Barney. I'm sure you could find something political in Barney too, but that's what I'm just trying to say is that they may understand what the topic of the show is about. They may pull meaning from it, but do they want to go in in-depth discussions from something that they are trying to escape into? Probably not. And I think that maybe we should just recognize that. That's all. Not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's something maybe we should take a look at. Or temporary, or it will change back. Nothing is ever temporary. Everything is always just changed, right? I think you guys would agree. Change, when something changes, it's never temporary because it never changes back. It changes back to something maybe similar, but never directly back. Change is change. If they don't want, okay, we rated that one. E.g., TSA that has just rolled back shoes off through airport security. I just went through airport security 2 days ago, left my shoes on. So I agree with you, Meridian. They are no longer doing that. I don't know if that's something you're directly correlating to lacks in like protection, because we were talking about that earlier. Maybe I just missed something in between. I think that's what really comes down to. They don't want to see the real life perils. That's fine too. I mean, you were in that conversation, so you have much more context to where they were and what they were feeling. As a whole, I just wanted to make sure both sides were heard. We're almost to an hour. Holy crud. We've been going for an hour.
Yeah. It is an hour already.
So I appreciate you guys being here with us. We already took an hour of your time. I'm sure it didn't feel like it because it definitely didn't feel like it for us. We've just been chatting it up. I don't know what that means, but
The wine bottle giveaway. So participate. Everyone's got to be 21 and over. Yes. Is everyone at least 21 here?
Yeah. Would it be cool if we gave you guys a cool gift for hanging out with us all the way to the end of the live stream? Would you guys be okay with that? If not, then it's we don't have to. I just wanted to make sure you guys would like that. Just Meridian? Okay. I mean, we don't, yeah. All good. I agree, Chris. I think it'd be cool to hear more of where they come from, their backstories. I agree. All right, cool. Got a few people who would be interested.
Go to a new tab. Drag over the other screen. Go to wheelofnames.com.
I think I have it saved. Maybe not.
Yep.
I have used it before.
All right. So we only have 3 people that want in on the THC wine giveaway.
I think it was up here.
Participants.
Yep. Found it. I'll just remove us.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think. Can you share screen? Yeah, you can. There it is.
Bam. I am sharing my screen.
All right.
Click to spin. You win.
What happened?
I didn't fill it up all the way.
With all instances. Oh, just spin again. We'll get it one of these times.
Why is it not?
When it pops up, remove all instances.
Aha! Now we'll do it.
3rd time's the charm.
Zombie Creations.
Yes. How can they reach out to us so that we can get their information
I think probably the best way would be to send an email to I'm about to put it in the chat for you and make it easy. Bam. So that's my email. Just email me right there. We just need your address, then we can ship it to you.
Yep.
Simple as that. And then we will ship you this here. Silverhawk 420 Sangria. Congratulations.
Yeah, definitely feeling it. And look, this is between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
You hold that up for the light.
I don't think it will. The light will. Oh, yeah, well.
Yeah. You see, that's all we've had. I've still got it in my glass. Chris has way more in his glass, and we're both feeling it.
My glass is also behind the mic, so it's harder to get to. But yeah, it's good stuff. Tastes great. I hope you enjoy it as well. They're our channel sponsor, so wanted to definitely try it with you, share it with you, and then if you guys, like it, there'll be a link in the description for you to go check it out, or we'll do that for you. Make it easy. That way you can just go right there.
And we'll do it on the next Handmaid video. How's that, Chris?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Tuesday, we drop our next season 2, episode 1.
Well, they're just now finding it out.
We'll
There's
be
no
dropping
build up to that.
on Tuesday. What?
They didn't know that beforehand, did they?
I don't even know what you said.
You just revealed to them when it was coming out. I was like, there was no big reveal for that. And by the way, we're continuing with season 2, episode 1 next Tuesday.
Did you guys think we weren't going to do season 2?
No, they knew we were going to do season 2, but I don't think they knew what day we were starting.
I think he finished his wine.
Yes.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate every last one of you being on here chatting with us, bringing your questions, bringing your knowledge, sharing your insights and opinions. They may differ from ours, but that's okay because we're open to that conversation too. Liam and I disagree on a lot of different things. We are very different people, but at the same time, we get along really well and are open to chatting about a lot of different things. So I'm very excited to dive into season 2 with you. We'll be doing another one of these at the end of season 2. So join us, chat with us. Make sure you're definitely in the comments. And now, anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I'm very appreciative of you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, I never would have gotten Chris to stick through season 6, let alone got him to season 1.
I'm appreciative of it too. All right, we will see you guys on that next video. And don't forget, if you want more of us, there's plenty of playlists and you can keep on watching. See you there. Later.